The Garden Report, is powered by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to another practice edition of the Garden Report. A busy practice today between games 1 and 2, and a pleasant surprise. Kristaps Porzingis appearing on the floor today, getting some light shooting up. Definitely very ginger in his movements. Didn't break into any runs or put much legs behind his shots. Was mostly just doing some stationary shooting from different spots on the floor here. But just like it was a great sign, I think, that we saw him actually talk to us, within a week of the injury here, which wouldn't be the case if this was something more severe. Us being able to see him out there in an open practice, I think, is a phenomenal sign of just his outlook. And listen, he didn't look like a guy who was imminently about to play in an NBA game out there. But in terms of him missing time into the East Finals or even through that whole series that's beyond this, I do think we're getting a good sign here that this isn't going to be something that knocks him out for most of the playoffs ahead.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think the norm is when a guy gets a long-term injury, you don't hear from him until he's about to come back. And obviously that wasn't the case here. Porzingis spoke to us just a couple of days after the injury, and he's been around. He's been with the team. We haven't seen him sitting on the bench, but he's been very much around at these practices and shoot-arounds, just walking around, talking to people. It's been mentioned that he's watching film. He's been very involved as far as all the different things with this team, I think, ready to come back when he's ready to. It was hard to gauge anything from the snippets that we saw today. I think everybody's scrutinizing his walk, and now there's this question of how did he even walk before he got injured? I think, he's a 7-footer. He walked a little gingerly kind of regardless, but I think ultimately the fact that he's this involved already, he could be sitting icing right now. Giannis was talking about how for the first week he really couldn't even walk at all. And so certainly that's a good benchmark to see that he seems to be at a better place than at least Giannis was with his soleus strain. So I still don't think we'll see him in this round. I don't have any real insider information there. I don't see a world where they rush him back for the series, because I don't think they're going to need to. And so there's not going to be any incentive to, particularly with an injury like that where you have the potential to re-aggravate it. But all good signs as far as just seeing him just be this around and this available. Well,
interestingly enough, Steve Bulpett did put some information out there. No hard reporting, he said, but the Cavs, he's heard, are thinking that they might see Porzingis at some point in this series. And the Celtics, he said, have shown some optimism from that perspective as well. Joe Mazzulla wouldn't give anything away today, though. He didn't even know Porzingis was out on the floor when he was. Here was him reacting to that.
Sorry, Kristaps is out there. Just an update on... I don't have one. I didn't know he was out there until just now.
So this is where we get stuck here. Is this reporting from Bulpett and Porzingis being out on the floor today a little gamesmanship with the Cavs? Should they be pushing him back into action? He has said he wants to get back at a historic rate. They haven't missed him yet. 2-0 without him. They look great offensively. They're playing a different style, too, without him that I think has been a little refreshing here. But they're obviously going to need him at some point, and you want him to be as close to 100% as possible at that point. I think anyone looking here will be like, they can get through the Cavs without him. Yeah. Don't rush it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is with this kind of injury, it's not about pain management, right? If it's the kind of thing that he can just play through with no issues, then I think he does it. He's been wanting to play all year. So I think the challenge with this injury is that it's just the kind of thing that the risk of re-aggravating it or worse is pretty high. So I don't think they're going to rush him back, even if they really need him. Even if they're in the conference finals and they really could use his size or could use his versatility on offense, I think they're going to have to prioritize his health. He's a long-term commitment for this team, and they do have enough without him. That's the reality of it. They have a deep bench rotation. We saw yesterday Luke Kornet stepping up and outplaying Evan Mobley for large stretches of last night's game. Al Horford obviously can play starter minutes, and provided that he's healthy, there's just no reason to do anything extreme here. So I still think it'll be a couple weeks before we see him. But obviously, as involved as he can be in the meantime, the better, just for morale as well. I think sometimes you see guys like, Jimmy Butler wasn't really with the team when he was traveling. I know everybody has their own kind of mentality on that. We expect that he'll probably be in Cleveland. It sounded like that was his intention. So I think those are just good things from a team perspective too, even if he's not going to be available anytime soon.
Right. And it's good just to see him. We haven't seen anything from him at this point. So even the bare minimum, which is what we effectively saw here today, it's refreshing to see. He's not just sidelined with his legs up at this point. He can get out there and do a little shooting. Although, use the Giannis comparison again, he was doing that 3 weeks in, but wasn't able to practice, wasn't able to go live. And that's the biggest reason he wasn't able to play in those games 3 weeks removed from that injury. So we'll see where that recovery actually lies. No updates today officially on the timeline. Still no timeline for Kristaps Porzingis, but rumblings from both here at practice and from Bull Pet there that this could be in the near term here, his return, rather than later. So we'll keep an eye on that. Check out all the video on our channel here of Porzingis getting those shots up, all the player reaction to Jason Tatum's performance. We talked about it as well in our last hit here. So subscribe. Check out our great sponsors, prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match. Check out PXG Golf and Leisure Wear. Use the code GARNREPORT for a discount over there on your first purchase. And the Game Time app. Great tickets. Game 2 tomorrow. You want to get tickets over there, $20 discount on your first purchase. Use the code CLNS. Terms apply. She's Noah Dalzell. Check her out at CelticsBlog.com and check out all our coverage of the series ahead of Game 2 here on CLNS Media. Hey, Bobby Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS.